Welcome back on this Sunday. President Trump tweeting this morning that fears of a trade war with China won't impact his relationship with Chinese leaders. The president tweeting out, President Xi and I will always be friends, no matter what happens with our disputes on trade. China will take down its trade barriers because it is the right thing to do. Taxes will become reciprocal, and a deal will be made on intellectual property. Great future for both countries. Let's bring in our panel. Tony Katz, conservative radio host out of Indianapolis. Robert Padillo, Atlanta-based Democratic radio host. Gentlemen, nice to see both of you guys. Tony, for soybean farmers and hog farmers in the heartland who are terrified over these Chinese reciprocal tariffs, is the fact that the president is still going to be friends with the president of China any consolation?
I think that it's a tweet, and I don't think you look at that as real hard-edged policy. It's the kind of thing that President Trump says, but what he does, of course, is different. Yeah, there's definitely a worry. You know, in Indiana, fifth largest pork-producing state here, contributes a tremendous amount of money to the Hoosier economy. Soybeans, 1/3 of soybeans that are developed in the U.S. go to China. It's a huge market, and of course there are farmers here who are worried about it, and that gets tempered a little bit with a state like ours that also has a huge manufacturing history and future. When we talk about steel and aluminum, these are real issues and they have to be dealt with. I hate tariffs, but I like the fact that the president is dealing with a trade issue with China that has to be dealt with.
Robert, how does this play as we head into the midterms? How do Democrats keep President Trump from co-opting what was one of their signature issues, which was trade?
Well, what has happened is President Trump has stepped into the power vacuum that's been left by the party moving further and further to the left side of the political spectrum. President Trump is where Democrats were in the 80s and 90s when it was Buy America, tariffs on foreign goods, supporting the American worker. And the fact that you see so few Democrats criticizing the president on tariffs, because this is exactly what unions have been asking for since NAFTA, that we have a president that's really standing up for the American workers. And we're going to have Democratic candidates that are pro-worker, pro-U.S. and not a part of the globalist agenda, who really plan on making sure that we manufacture things in America and that we punish people for dumping their products here.
You go back to one of the great Democratic operatives of all time, James Carville, who said it was the economy, stupid. That was the sign as you walked into Bill Clinton's campaign headquarters in Little Rock. Talking about the economy, one of the bellwethers that the president and others have used is the markets. And on Friday, the markets quite literally crashed, down more than 500 in this massive sell-off. Tony, does the president have an exposed flank here if the markets keep selling off based on these threats of trade wars?
I think that you've got more than the trade war. And by the way, people could say it's not a trade war. You know, there's this fantastic tweet from President Trump about when you're $500 billion down, you've got nothing to lose. That really sums up his theory on this. And people might not call it a trade war. The president might not say it's a trade war.
You may not think that he has anything to lose. There's farmers, as you just pointed out, there's soybean farmers and hog farmers who think they've got a lot to lose.
No, but the point that I make is that President Trump is saying we've already hit the bottom with China. How much more further can we go? It's worth trying something. But when we talk about the markets themselves, you also have to add in what's going on in the tech world. What Mark Zuckerberg has done with the privacy issues regarding Facebook has been massively detrimental to the markets. People questioning privacy, and all of Silicon Valley asking themselves, well, exactly how much are we going to have to now invest? When Tim Cook from Apple says privacy is right up there with freedom of speech and it's got to be protected, and we at Apple would never be in this position, that's throwing down the gauntlet to Silicon Valley. That's also having an effect on the market.
All right, so Robert, put a bow on this for us as you can. The left also outraged over Facebook. We've got Zuckerberg coming this week as well.
Well, let's just appreciate the fact that Mark Zuckerberg is the one political figure that can unite all parts of the political spectrum in America. The fact that we have known for years, no one have quite understood the Facebook economic model, but the fact that all they've done is package us into commodities to be sold to advertisers and foreign governments and whoever else is the highest bidder should really give us pause. And this gives the federal government an opportunity to step in and actually put some constraints around these organizations that have all of our information. Every time Facebook shows you a memory from 5 years ago, you realize Facebook knows more about you than you know about you, and we have to stop that.
Yeah, you always wonder how all of a sudden those ads show up on Facebook, and you think they are either reading my mind or listening to me, or maybe just listening to Tony Katz, who always knows what's on my mind whenever we chat. Gentlemen, it was good talking to you both. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Leland.
All right, see you guys.